to order it. Meeting is called of the Norwalk Harbor Management Commission on Wednesday, October 23rd. Is being called to order at 6:05 p.m. We start with the pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag
of the United States of
America,
and to the
republic
for which it
stands
stands,
one nation,
under God,
indivisible, with
liberty
and justice for all.
For all. As you were. I don't need to call the roll call. I've got, I see Matt, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 7 commissioners. That is a quorum for us. Chris White, I don't see, and Don Remsen. I know Don was added to our list, so I surprised he's not on.
Amelia, you have his email address?
Yes, I have his email address, and Jeff gave me his phone number, so we have his contact information. I know that an invite went out to him, and I know Chris White said he will be joining, but just a few minutes late.
Would you be able to send me his email address, Amelia?
Yeah, sure. I'll do that right now.
I usually have the, for example, when I send out applications, I send it out to everybody and then have him included on the list.
Got it.
Hadn't I already sent that to everyone? I did that a while ago when he joined, but.
Oh, I didn't get it, Alan, if you did.
Okay.
No, at least not Mr. Remsen's email, whom I know the guy. As a matter of fact, I had interacted with his father. His father lived up the road from me.
Okay.
Would that be Joe Remsen?
He worked with the state,
Mhm.
All right. Hopefully we'll.
Don Remsen is jumping on now.
Excellent.
He's working on it now. He's like me. He's not as technically advanced as some of the folks here, so he's working through some issues.
Okay. Well, we can get started, I think.
I'd just like to start with everybody be online. It's coming online.
There he is. And his audio is connected. Hi, Don. Welcome aboard. You can unmute yourself if you would like.
There he is. Good evening, Don. Your microphone is muted, so you'd need to click on the picture of the microphone on the screen to unmute yourself, and it will hear you when you talk.
Okay. There we go.
Hey,
Sorry.
there you are. Welcome to the Norwalk Harbor Management Commission.
Thank you. It's an honor to be part of it.
It is. It's actually a privilege for the work we do for the city. Our first item on the agenda is public comment. Amelia, do we have any commenters standing by?
We have a few attendees, so if anyone would like to participate in public comment, please use the raise your hand feature at the bottom of your screen, and we'll allow you to speak and make comment on anything pertaining to agenda items. Well, no hands so far, so I don't think we have any public comment tonight.
Very good. Thanks, Amelia. Next is Laurie, the approval of the minutes.
Yep, so we have two sets of minutes to approve tonight. One is a revision of the July 24th minutes that we approved at our August meeting, but then Dr. Pino had a couple of corrections and amendments, which I had sent to everybody. So I'd like to first call for a motion to approve the amended July 24th, 2024 minutes.
I'll make
Can
that
I have a
motion.
motion? Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you. And then the second is last month, August 28th, 2024 minutes. Do I have a motion to approve those?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second
Thank
that.
you, Chris.
Yeah.
Thank you, John. And all in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, those are both approved.
Thank you, Lori. Dr. Pinto, Application Review Committee.
Yeah, we have only one item on the agenda, not an application itself, but it's actually a request that I would like to bring forward to the commission to support a letter that that's going to go out shortly that will discuss the court decision that was made several year ago with regard to the responsibilities of harbor management commissions. I think Amelia had sent that out to everyone. As you know, this what we're doing is what I'd like to suggest is that we write a request that the mayor, any legal counsel, and our state representatives help support a bill that addresses the Greenwich court case that negated the validity of the harbor management plans throughout the state. We're being joined, hopefully we'll be joined by New London. I think it was at Fairfield, Stratford. There's a number of other commissions around the state that are going to support this action that we tried to do last year, but we ran short of the time that was allotted to present this. The history of that, if you well know, is the court decision that undermined our responsibility that harbor commissions that stated that a recommendation by a harbor management commission has no weight or standing with DEP unless that recommendation is spelled out ahead of time, predetermined to approve harbor management plan. And two, the harbor management commissions lack specific legal authority to even review or make recommendations on applications for deep permits affecting their harbors, which authority has long been established and recognized in all harbor management plans approved by the DEEP and adopted locally. So we were not looking for anything new or different. We want clarification of what this judge, and I think it was a misguided recommendation that this judge had made. And we would like to propose or prepare for a proposed bill to make that clear that we want the state legislation to review this, and that I have a couple of what we plan to do is that the municipal harbor management commissions have legal authority to review and make recommendations on applications and other matters considered by DEEP and other state agencies and officials in local waters, and that two, recommendations by a harbor management commission based on policies established in an adopted harbor management plan, in addition to any predetermined recommendations set forth in the plan, must be followed by DEP, and other state agencies and officials. And this is the caveat: unless those agencies and officials show cause in writing why they should take a different action than recommended by the commission. And that's all we're basically acting. We're not trying to supersede what DEP has to say or make any recommendation that they made, but at least that when they do make a recommendation that's contrary to what a commission that has a recognized harbor management plan in place, but they mention that why they're choosing a different action, and I think they should put in writing why they're doing that to clarify for us, because we're going to we have to handle these situations as issues arise, that we have to explain why a different action was taken. You allow someone to do something, but yet you didn't allow us to do this. So we need to be explained to us.
It's the same exact proposal as for the last legislative session. That had a bill number and it went through the Environment Committee, and it was not passed out of the Environment Committee because DEP objected to it. And actually so did the DOT. So it's essentially, not essentially, it is the same language that we would propose to introduce this legislative session. And to many of us, it's just it just makes common sense. And it is also consistent with what DEEP itself has approved in other harbor management plans, and what we would certainly like them to approve in any update to the Norwalk plan. And again, many of us feel that this is the most essential matter before the Harbor Commission right now. We talked about it in Stamford and Greenwich, in Norwich last night. And the sense is that probably nothing will happen, or we won't get support until after the state elections, which are only a couple of weeks away. But it's the same proposal as was introduced in the 2023 legislative session.
Which we supported which reported that as well last year.
And it just it's the language that DEEP itself has approved in the most recent harbor management plans, Greenwich and West Haven.
And what about New London?
Well, New London is still a draft plan.
There's still
so-
draft
but-
plan, right?
But New London will be supportive, and so
Yeah.
will Norwich.
Yeah, the mayor of New London is very supportive of what we're doing, as well as, again, some of the other commissions, but we would certainly like our mayor, and I already spoke to Mayor Rilling about this at the Oyster Festival, and he's in agreement that what we need to do is to step forward, make a request, and he would have the corporate councils look into what we plan to do or would like to do. So he was very amenable to that. So I was just, looking for, again, what we had presented and what Amelia had sent around, that the commission support that, and we write a letter to the mayor, legal counsel to state our issues, state what we plan to do, basically, and see whether they would be willing to support it, based on the Harbor Commission's recommendation and the Shellfish Commission's recommendation.
Does anybody have any comments or questions for Dr. Pitto?
No, but I'll make a motion that we endorse this, yeah.
Is there any
Seconded.
questions? Any questions? A second.
All right, everyone had a copy and had a chance to read that. As I said, nothing is trying to grandstand or trying to supersede what the state is trying to do, but at least it gives us clear authority that what we're doing is on the right track, which goes along with the the provisions that have already been provided to all commissions in the state. As I said, we just need clarification of that. And that court decision negated everything that went ahead probably for the past 20 years.
So we're going to create a letter to the mayor and
Yeah.
legal counsel and asking for their support
Right.
in pursuing this. Is that?
That's
Correct.
correct. Right.
And we also made the argument with the other towns that a clear example of the impact of that decision is what took place during the public hearing for the DEP for the Walk Bridge permit. And if you remember, the hearing officer dismissed the Harbor Commission's comments with reference to the Cohen versus DEEP case, and said the Harbor Commission's comments are no different than the comments of the general public.
And other commissions in the state had similar issues confronted in the same manner, that recommendations that they made by the same hearing officer were not relevant to the situation. And that sort of put a little sour taste in the mouth of all the people trying to do good things as far as the harbor is concerned, the local harbors are concerned. So, that's where we're standing right now. And I think this is a very important issue, because if we don't get this settled out, then anything that we do with our harbor management plan in the future is going to be negated.
So we have a motion, and Mike, did you second that?
Yes.
Okay.
It's seconded. The motion's on the floor. Dr. Pinto and Mr. Stedman, are you going to write this
Yes.
letter? Will you circulate it to the?
Well, it'll be
Commission
based
before
pretty much
sending
on what was already sent out, to you, but we're going to be the document that was sent out, and then we'll probably some dialogue that is going to, sort of address what we need, what we'd like them to do, make a request of what they'd like to do. We'll send that letter out to everybody for verification.
Yeah, as long as we get a review before it gets sent. Thank you for all the hard work too. It's a challenge to keep up with the work of the commission and the machinations of the state is all at the same time. It's really a challenge for us. So thank you, Dr. Pinto.
And that's as far as our report. We do have one application next month, so be prepared.
Terrific.
We need to take a vote.
What's that?
We need to take a vote.
Yeah, we need to take
Motion
a
on the
vote.
floor that So the motion is to endorse the draft plan that was sent, which is, it's being presented under the Harbor Management Association, not directly from us, correct? But we're endorsing it as our commission.
That's correct. That's correct.
And additionally, that we request that the mayor endorse it,
That's correct.
or yes.
So that's
So
your
that's
motion,
that's the
Chris?
motion.
Motion.
Okay.
Motions, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Discussion? Motion's
Thank
passed.
you, guys. I said, we'll get that letter out and we'll send it around to everyone for approval, final corrections, comments, et cetera, and then we'll get it off to the mayor. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's a lot of hard work there.
Yeah, it was very thorough.
I'm glad it's very well done. So our appreciation to you guys. Correspondence. I've had some correspondence with Ms. Linnell Jones about the berming that's been approved by the city for doing some really grading work at Wilson Point to help control their runoff on the roads. I've not been able to get a drawing of what's requested yet, so it's not really like the deck is quite full before we can really look at that. So I will make that request to get a copy of whatever drawings were submitted and see if it's something we need to review. This is an over-the-counter application, so it doesn't really require planning and zoning's review to do this. Essentially, they're paving a road and they're repaving an existing road, and they're apparently putting some berming around it, little hills around it to control the runoff. I've not found a drawing of that yet, so I can't tell you exactly what it is. This requires 65 cubic yards of fill, which is not a huge amount of soil to be bringing in to create these berms. So that's ongoing.
Alan,
for
I
your
can send
information.
you a copy of so the zoning permit's been issued. It's just yeah, like you said, an over-the-counter permit issued by staff.
Right.
I can send you a copy of that. And like you said, it's not.
I have the permit. I just didn't see the
Yeah, a
drawing yet.
copy of I'll send you a copy of whatever drawings were submitted, that was used to issue the permit. And because it's not an application in front of any border commission like the Planning and Zoning Commission, it's not referred to the Harbor Management Commission.
Correct.
But if it were a big project that required review by any other decision-making authority, it would be referred to you.
I think that it's important that the commission have the opportunity to have a look at that, and I will circulate it to the commissioners as soon as I get the whole package.
Yeah, I can definitely send out the copy of the plans that were submitted, but I do want to be clear that the zoning permit has already been issued.
Right. Understood. Anything else for correspondence? Anyone else have any written material they received to the commission? All right. I guess we'll just segue on to my report, which will be very brief. I wanted to apologize for the lack of a meeting a month ago. There's a lesson there that now it just means that we need a plan B if something like that happens again. And since we've been through this once, I don't think it will happen again. So that's what needs to be said about that. The other big item is welcoming our ninth commissioner on board. Don Rebson is joining us. He's online tonight. I have his resume or curriculum vitae, which I will distribute. I had a little bit of a problem with Wi-Fi wise, but I'll send that out this evening. Now that we're back, that I'm reconnected again. But welcome, Don. Would you like to just talk a little bit about your background?
Yeah, thank you. Like I said earlier, it's an honor to be part of this mission. Born and raised in Norwalk. Actually, up around Mr. Pinto there, right around the corner. Been a boater my whole life. Rear Commodore, South North Boat Club. And been with the state of Connecticut DOT with the Bureau of Highway Operations for the last 32 years. Just looking forward to anything I could do to help preserve our harbor. I think we got one of the best harbors around, and just looking forward to working with everybody and keeping it a safe and clean harbor.
Well, thank you. Looking forward to working with you as well. And we should have a conversation about, you and I can have a conversation about what areas of the commission that you would like to focus on. Each of us has something that we kind of have a special little project or an area we specialize in. And that's something we should have a conversation about to see how you'd like to bring your knowledge and experience to the Harbor Commission. So,
Yeah, definitely.
Welcome aboard. We're glad to have you. Nice to have a quorum plus 2 members on the commission, so we can not worry about somebody getting sick. So welcome, and I look forward to meeting you in person, and we'll welcome your input and contribution. That's it for me. Mr. Lavallo? Harbor Master Lavallo.
Thank you, Mr. Commissioner Kibbe, Captain Kibbe.
Thank you.
No, I have a very little report. I don't know if everybody is aware that I've been dealing with some health issues. So Deputy Harbor Master Owen Lee and Deputy Harbor Master Mike Vinci have been pretty much taking the helm on the waterfront. I've been just dealing with stuff with the walk bridge. And I know last month, the Marine unit gave me a call about the barge at Divine that broke away from the bulkhead, and we got that resolved pretty quick. I was able to get a hold of the tugboat that brings that barge up the harbor, and they were able to come up that night and get the barge up against the bulkhead again. The Harbor Master boat is back in service. And that's pretty much it. End of season. I know Commissioner Mangles is going to talk about some equipment that we got in a couple of days ago, and Commissioner Mangles and myself are still hashing out the online mooring stuff with people not. Pretty much everyone's paid, but a lot of the stuff is their insurance and their inspections haven't been put into the system. So we're working on that to get that squared away. And that's about it.
Thank you, Bruce. Any questions for Bruce from anyone?
Is there any follow-up information on that the spillage incident that happened in the harbor with the sewage and diesel discharge?
Yeah,
I'll leave that to Sergeant Basigli or Deputy Harbor Master Owen Lee.
How you doing? It's Deputy Harbor Master Owen Lee. The spillage that occurred was 47 gallons. The gentleman who discharged the 47 gallons was issued a summons for utilizing his waste disposal into Norwalk Sound, or into Norwalk River and the Long Island Sound, and he was given a court date. So that's the extent of what we have with that right now.
Excuse me, Owen, was this diesel or was this regular gas?
It was 47 gallons of diesel fuel.
Diesel fuel.
Plus whatever was, so the tank is a 60-gallon tank, brown water, black water, whatever you want to call it, tank, and 47 gallons for sure was released into the Sound.
Did it require any cleanup?
Yeah.
Due to the type of release of the diesel fuel, because it was so diffuse, it was from south of Greens Ledge Light to Manresa, spill response could not be conducted. It wasn't warranted because it was so diffuse.
Yeah. For the people who didn't read the article, what happened was is this guy filled up, he put diesel in his sewage tank. And then when he realized that, I don't know how and where he did it, but then he just discharged his entire sewage tank. You know, what it was ever in the sewage tank, as well as the volume that Owen said, 47 gallons. And I don't know if he just sort of opened it up and floored it and spread it all over the harbor, or whether he did in one spot and it drifted. But it's, yeah, I guess unfortunately it wasn't caught early enough that it diffused itself with the tide.
Well, probably, I don't know if there's any saving grace, you know, if mixed diesel fuel with human waste, I hope that diesel fuel managed to kill off the human waste, but then diesel fuel itself is not that detrimental as far as the harbor is concerned. Yeah, as far as the environment is concerned. So that's probably another saving grace.
Yeah, my understanding is that the dock where the fuel went into the wrong tank, could offered to pump it all out for a fee, but the operator decided to find his own way to empty his tank.
I'm glad he got caught.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad he got caught.
The saving grace.
It's Justin, just to add to that too. The DEP and the Coast Guard were also notified, and they're going to be handling some civil aspect on their end as well. So our criminal aspect Owen took care of, and the civil aspect will be from the Coast Guard.
Yeah.
Oh, great. Right.
Very good. Too bad there's not a big front page article we could put up so discourage other people from doing that.
I read it in several places, so that was a pretty good public shaming
Is it?
in public, in social media, and in the papers. What's left of the papers.
What we have with that, like Doc Pinto said, was the fact that it was in fact diesel, and it was so diffuse because the boat might have been running. I don't know the facts of that situation, but it was spread out over such a large area that DEEP wasn't as concerned as you would think, because of the amount of area that it was spread through. I don't know if that makes sense. I'm not a diesel fuel and water specialist, but that was their big point, was the fact that it was over such a large area in which it's dispersed, that the environmental impact was so low.
That we had a diesel spill, I think, if you recall, I think some of the commission members were there about maybe 10, 15 years ago. There was a tanker that was going from Darien to Bridgeport, and it hit a rock, and it sort of nicked their bladder enough to release about 1,000 gallons of diesel fuel. And the DEP probably, well, at the time was not too concerned about it because it was in the middle of January when that happened, and then they just sort of allow it to disperse. But diesel fuel is relatively, not, I say, relatively, you don't want to spill it, but it's relatively benign as far as the environment is concerned.
Okay, thank you, Ani. We'll move on from that. Bruce, are you finished with your report?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. I just want to just throw out there, I'd like to thank Deputy Harbor Master Owen Lee for his hard work. I don't know if all the commissioners are aware, but we're going to be getting a new boat, and that was ordered on 10/10. So Owen, thank you for all your hard work and getting that through. That's it.
Well, thank you.
Thank you, Harbor Master Lavallo.
You are muted, Alan. You are muted.
I are unmuted. Jeffrey Stedman.
Thank you. I do have several things I'd like to talk about, and cut me off if I'm going on too long. We assumed responsibility for applying for funds for the rebuilding of the Veterans Park Marina, an application to the Connecticut Port Authority. So we assume that responsibility, a major project. And And we were able to get all the application materials together. We had a very nice presentation. We put a visual presentation as well as the written materials. And of course, we had all the project plans. And we submitted that all on time to the Port Authority on, I think it was July 1. Which included driving to Old Saybrook and delivering paper copies as well as the.
Yeah, I think we should thank Jeff.
Well,
I think
but-
you traveled all the way to Old Saybrook
Yeah,
to make and deliver that. That was
But
very nice.
Last week, the Port Authority Board voted, on the projects to accept. And our project was one of the accepted grant applications in the amount of $3,528,000 towards the rebuilding of the the Veterans Park Marina. Now, that's 80%. That's exactly what we asked for. And that was calculated as 80% of the total project cost. So the city is, I forget what the total, I can't do that math in my head, but but that's all understood. The Port Authority approved, the board did 16 projects from throughout Connecticut. The total amount of money authorized was $10.3 million. But our project was the largest by $2 million. The next largest project was funded at $1.5 million. However, now just as all of the Port Authority grants, this requires action by the Connecticut Bond Commission for the actual allocation of the funds. The Bond Commission met yesterday, I think, but this wasn't on the agenda. Their next scheduled meeting is I wrote it down, I think it's early in December. So to get these funds is, the final allocation of it requires action by the Bond Commission, which is expected. Several years ago, the Bond Commission didn't act on the request by the Port Authority immediately because of the concern about the cost overrides for the state pier work. But we don't have that same issue now. So anyway, I would like to thank the grants administrator, Rita Nigri. We attended by phone the Port Authority meeting last week, and the public comment period was up front before they made the announcement of which grants to accept. So Rita made some very nice comments thanking the Port Authority for their previous support for the city of Norwalk and thanking the Port Authority for reviewing our application. And then we later learned that we were successful. And also Dan Stanton from the engineering department, because his role was basically to get the plans all together and have the plans in place and have the permits in place. And that work was done by Race Engineering. And that's what and also the estimate of probable cost was by Race. And then actually we struggled a little bit because we were supposed to have all of the permits in place by the time the grant application was submitted on July 1. We were still awaiting the final approval by the Corps of Engineers. And Race was communicating with the Corps just about every day. And we were able to inform the Port Authority that the Corps had decided to issue the approval. They just hadn't finished the paperwork. So they processed our grant. So now we need to look forward to, working to implement this. Also, the Port Authority officials, the new maritime manager, very, very good guy to work with. He would like to visit. He's not familiar with Norwalk or Stamford or Stratford or some of the towns in Southwest Connecticut. So we thought that at the time that the Bond Commission allocates these funds, it might be a good time to have a local press conference of some sort in Norwalk with officials from the Port Authority. So that's all in the works. And then I would like to make a request for the commission to consider that when this marina is rebuilt, that we consider naming the marina after Tony Mobilia, the Anthony Mobilia Marina, just as we did with Dave Donovan, who the boating center is named after. Tony was an exceptional public servant. He was an example of pursuing public service, not to enrich himself or get a better job, but to serve the public. And all the work he did is on the Harbor Management Commission. And he passed away at the marina when he passed away. So I would like to make that recommendation that the commission consider that. So that's one thing. And then,
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you for that. That's very thoughtful.
We had committed to his family that we would put together an interpretive panel similar to what we did for John Frank, the former chair of the Shellfish Commission. We did down at Calf Pasture Beach. We haven't done that yet, but we were sort of holding off to see what would happen with the marina. But it's a way not only to recognize what Tony did, but also the Harbor Management Commission and the importance of managing the harbor. And when that grant was authorized, last week, I went back, people have asked about, what does the Harbor Commission do? And I think someone, suggested that the Harbor Commission could promote itself a little better. But I went back and looked at the funds that have come to the city because of the Harbor Commission. So in the course of the federal dredging project, the Harbor Commission was responsible for $13.6 million coming into the city. The commission was the local sponsor of that. Of that amount, there was $220,000 that the city provided, but all the rest was state and federal funds. Also, in the first round of the SHIP grants, again, the commission applied for these funds and was $900,000+ for rebuilding the visitors dock. And prior to that, there was a grant from the state of Connecticut that the commission applied for and received. It was about $358,000 for dredging around the visitors dock at the time of the dredging project. More minor project, the $44,000 for the street end access study. That was the last grant previous to this that the commission applied for and received. And now the $3.5 million, you add that up, it's $18.5 million that the commission is directly responsible for bringing into the city of Norwalk. And I think that's an impressive accomplishment over the years. So I'll stop there on that. There are a couple of other things, if you don't mind.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Just as interject, Alan, I think this is why we're putting together perhaps a little presentation that maybe you and maybe Jeff as chair, vice chair can give before the Common Council to represent what the Harbor Management Commission has done over the years. We have a very excellent pictorial that we were going to do. John Romano was supposed to do that when he was chair, but obviously that didn't happen. And now hopefully we could resurrect that, dust it off a little bit, and give a presentation to the Common Council.
Well, we used, correct me if I'm wrong, we used to do a state of the harbor
Right.
at the end of every year. That I remember the first year before the pandemic, the mayor attended, and I don't know how many council members. We actually had to have that in a separate room at City Hall.
That's correct.
So it's a state of the harbor was an annual presentation.
Or we can do something similar to that, Chris, or maybe a special presentation before the Common Council themselves. Is sort of a
Right.
Or have a state of the harbor meeting, reinstitute that, but anyway, that's.
Yeah, we can do either of those things. I think sometimes it's better if you have the whole council at their own meeting when they
That's
have
what
to be there.
It's a captive
rather than-
audience, at least
Yeah.
familiar exactly what the commission has done over the years, and where it hopes to.
I'll just quickly go through it. Just bear with me and again, cut me off if I'm going too long. The harbor master and I have been working to put together. He and the harbor master's office have some really impressive, striking videos and still photos of the flooding on Water Street. And so we put them essentially into a YouTube movie. We haven't distributed it yet because we're trying to edit it, and we may have some narration to go with it. But it's quite striking, and it points out the importance of planning for resiliency and wise planning for waterfront redevelopment. So we're working on that. We should have that for the next meeting. Also, the Norwalk River Watershed Initiative. I think I reported on that a couple of meetings ago. They now have sufficient funds to hire a consultant to redo or update the Norwalk River Watershed Action Plan. And I don't know what the schedule is for that, but the commission should certainly be actively involved in that because the original plan involved the commission and was in large part was because of the commission. So I think that's another very good opportunity to be involved with in terms of looking at conditions in the watershed that affect Norwalk Harbor. And what we're doing now is going back and looking at a lot of the old public information materials and documents that we put together when the original watershed initiative was started, so that the current team, the new team, has the benefit of learning from the history and what we previously did. So that we'll know more about that in the next well, hopefully in the next short period of time. The Harbor Management Act amendments we talked about. I didn't talk with Mike before the meeting, but I've been working on some interpretive panels on shellfishing in Norwalk Harbor using the 1899 map of natural beds and the mural images that are from the City Hall, which I've got good images for. Hope to have those for you next month as well. John and I attended yesterday a dredging seminar put on by the Corps of Engineers and the DEEP, looking at dredge material. They don't call it disposal needs anymore. They call it placement.
Placement.
I
Yeah.
guess disposal connotes, some sort of material that's not very good. And so there's a survey that was done of private dredging needs. These aren't the federal needs. And very interesting to listen to the discussion yesterday about how DEEP is actively involved now in planning for long-range dredge material management. But we did ask the question about the relationship with New York State, because that's the big issue that affects a lot of what we're doing.
I don't think many of the commission members are aware of that.
Yeah, I won't go on to the whole background of it, but DEEP said that they're trying to work with New York to have a better relationship with regard to dredging. But that's just sort of.
Well, in a nutshell, Alan, New York State has made a number of an overture that Connecticut cannot dispose of any dredge material in Long Island Sound without their approval, and the response is that it's from shore to shore. So if you want to dispose of material that is on our side of the harbor, outside of the pond there, that they need to review it and give it okay. And they have not been very friendly with regard to the DEP and what they plan to do and what we propose to do. And that's the issue with regard to this dredge material management plan that the Army Corps and DEEP are putting together right now. They need to work very closely with New York State.
It's just very interesting. And also, last month, I was going to report on it last month, but I participated in a meeting with Congressman Himes and his staff, officials from the Corps of Engineers and the Harbor Commission in Greenwich. It was in Greenwich, and the purpose was to discuss the federal projects that are now ongoing in the Congressman's district. And there are three. Big one that I think was most of interest to the Congressman is the work on the Stamford Hurricane Barrier and the gate on the barrier, which may result in the East Branch of Stamford Harbor being closed for a substantial period of time. And one of the principal facilities that's upstream on the East Branch is the O&G asphalt plant, which has responsibilities for much of the road construction material in Southwest Connecticut. So the relationship between that potential closure and what O&G hopes to do with his plant on the Norwalk River is an interesting topic to discuss. The other two projects in the district are a relatively small in terms of volume dredging project in federal dredging project in Southport Harbor that we've only been working on for 30 years, and then the larger project in Greenwich Harbor. But those are the three federal projects ongoing in the Congressman's district now. And then the last thing, if you bear with me, I would like to talk about, if you don't mind, has to do with this, quite interesting proposal that we've just learned about for the reuse of Manresa Island. And so my thought and my recommendation, suggestion to the Harbor Commission is the Harbor Commission should take an active position on this. And in the course of, and I mentioned this to Lori, of our work to update the plan, prepare a vision for the island, for the reuse of the island. Not of course the plan for what it is, but provide the basic framework for what we would like to see here to guide the commission's review of the applications that the commission is going to have to review. And those are the applications for deep permits, the remedial action plan that has to be developed, and any coastal site plan review. So not to, of course, design what it's there, but to provide a framework for the commission's review. And this is what the Stratford Commission has done with the Army Engine Plant in Stratford. It prepared an overall vision, again, that guides their review and also highlights the importance of what it, the commission is going to have to look at the plans for Manresa Island. It's certainly a water dependent site. It's a tremendous opportunity, and I think the commission should take an active involvement in this, including the development of the vision. So John, we put together, if you go back just right up to the beginning.
Yeah, well, let's.
People can see this.
Well, no, we'd have to, Amelia, could you give me access to
Yep, you should be able to share your screen.
your screen?
Just very quickly to go through here, that as you know, the history of the island is fascinating. And there's very well done report by the Manresa, I think you call associations, several years ago, a consultant's report. John, can you
see that
now?
Can you see the screen? Okay.
Just
Yeah.
go down quickly, just thinking about, talking with people about what the opportunities of the island and the history of it, where it is relative to the harbor. And also, just stop there, John.
Yeah. Now, these photos Jeff did not take.
No, we assemble these from the state library, the history of the aerial images of the island. And this 1934 photo is from the first aerial survey of the state of Connecticut. And you can see the extent of the island there as it is. And the history of it as a Jesuit retreat from the late 1800s to about 1911.
It's Kaiser Island, yeah.
All of that. And then 1951, John, still it's not a power plant, but the year after, very interesting, is when CL&P, it was rebuffed by Stamford. As you know, that the original intent of the power plant was to develop it on Cove Island in Stamford. And just go back up.
Let me get back here.
Was to develop it in Stamford, and Stamford fought that and ended up eventually taking the CL&P property at Cove Island. And Stamford ended up with Cove Island Park, and the city of Norwalk got the power plant. And it was a very contentious, as you know, process for the development here. It was challenged by the neighbors. There was a referendum, and there was a court case. And actually, the zoning commission's approval of the power plant took place on a Sunday afternoon in the chairman's house, which is sort of interesting. But there's a long history. And then by I think the plant was commissioned in 1960. So if you look at these images just quickly, you can see the coal stockpiles.
Yeah.
And then over time, how the fly ash and the byproducts were used to fill in the wetlands. Just going through these histories of photographs, that there's a reference to a significant oil spill that took place I've seen different years, 1969 and 1972.
It affected Village Creek, yeah.
But it we have to confirm when that was, because in 1972, that's when the power plant switched from coal fired to oil fired, all the time bringing it in by barge. And then it was in the 1980s designated as a hazardous waste site for the purpose of initiating all the corrective action. So looking through, and also you can see here where the oil storage tanks replace the coal storage. And go down, John, if you will quickly, just through these. And I'm just trying to start telling the story of the history of this, again, to increase people's enthusiasm and knowledge for what this area could be. I just go quickly through here. I haven't finished telling the story. But then we get into, and I've got some more of my photos from 1990 and 2000 and 2002 that I'll incorporate in. But Storm Sandy in 2012 inundated the whole site and caused damage, and then the site was shut down in 2013. So just go through these quickly, John. And haven't finished telling the story, but the point is that my hope is that the commission will wish to take a you know, a proactive role.
in this,
And we
yeah.
put this together as a presentation. Again, it's just the first draft. And then these are just my, not that one, but those other photos of mine over the years. As a presentation by both the commission and the Shellfish Commission. But I think we could put together a nice vision statement within which the very accomplished firms and owners now, when we review their plans, we would have a framework against which to review them. Go down, John. But that was just a first crack at trying to increase public interest, but also bring the Harbor Commission into this. And there's a sort of a similar matter in Stamford now, with the private acquisition of the old Stamford Lighthouse and the plans to restore that lighthouse as a historic resource and an educational resource, which of course the Harbor Commission in Stamford supports, but also recognizes they have to maintain their distance from it a little bit because they're going to have to review all the permits that would be applied for. But anyway, we also have assembled a pretty good history of all the, actually in the New York Times, all the news articles going back to the 50s, when this started, including one article where the president of CLMP assured the residents of the city of Norwalk that this would be the most beautiful power plant in the United States. And I don't know what criteria he used, but now there's a tremendous opportunity to realize a vision, and I think the Harbor Commission should have a role in setting that vision. Thanks for letting me talk. That's all I'd like to say.
Can I ask a question going back to what the city status on the Veterans Park dock is? I was the liaison for that project, and I haven't heard anything from DPW in like 2 years on that. You know, are the plans finished? Did they just do a permit set to do this? I mean, what's do we have any idea what their procurement schedule is?
No, I can call Dan Stanton tomorrow, but our focus now had been, Chris, since
Yeah.
get money for them to do what they have to do. So whether they have the construction, the drawings, or I don't know.
No, I know that was our focus. They planned on doing this before we even suggested that we could get money for it. So they sort of committed, they certainly procured the design contract without any idea of a grant behind it. I mean, it's been chugging along for like 3 years now. We've heard nothing about it, and and who's gonna, what they obviously have to solicit put a construction contract out to bid. DPW has been doing it because they have the staff to manage design and consultant projects, but and Parks and Rec doesn't, but it's a Parks and Rec facility. So
Right.
Parks and Rec is the owner, and DPW has just been facilitating it.
Yeah, it's
So
very
there's still a
important
lot
we
of
have-
things there's a lot of steps here which we're in the dark on, and I know that was not your task to do there to manage that, but I wanted to know if we had any information on that.
Well, maybe that now that 80% of the cost is being funded, that maybe a little bit more action will be taken.
Let's
Well,
hope.
we have to ask for design drawings. We have to ask for the package of what they're actually going to build, because all that's been done is schematic work at this point. It's just a schematic design. And we know that it kind of overlooked the requirements that we have for the servicing the mooring field as well. That kind of get overlooked in that whole design process.
Right.
So there is some more design work that needs to be done before anything can go forward. So we need to be sure that's happening. Jeff, are you still connected with that project, or should we assign somebody to stay with it?
Well, I was the liaison. I just have not heard anything.
that's right.
I mean, I guess I'm not plans and recommendation anymore, but
No, I think that should be continue to be your role, because I think we have to have someone that really follows that carefully. I feel the same way about Jeff's suggestion for the Manresa Island project, that we really should have one of our commissioners that kind of
Right.
follows that along. Not that they're the
Right.
uh,
I
the thought
just to speak
process,
on
but
that.
that's their thing to keep up with.
I mean, I think the Manresa Association as a community group did an excellent report, which
Yes.
incorporated everything, Jeff showed. I think all the graphics and all the history are included in that. I don't think we need to redo that.
No. I didn't suggest that. I suggested that we
Oh.
have somebody who follows all the activity with that, so that we're
Yeah.
aware and we can participate appropriately, rather than somehow we have a habit of showing up after the fact and complaining about things rather than getting it at the ground floor. That's
Yeah.
my
So,
point.
so I guess Jeff, if you communicate with Dan Stanton about this, please CC me on it so I can get in the loop on what's going on with DPW.
I'll call him tomorrow and maybe tell him that you will call him, or I'll
Okay.
figure that out. But regarding the Manresa Island, my suggestion is that, yeah, that report was an excellent report. But my suggestion is that we draft a vision statement for inclusion in the harbor management plan for what we want the basic principles of the reuse and the water dependency and the environmental remediation. And then we have something in the plan that forms the basis for our site specific and proposal specific recommendations and comments.
Because if we don't, as I said, with the commission's lack of responsibility to review plans right now, that if it's not specifically mentioned or cited in our harbor management plan.
But again, I'm
Might
not talking about details of the.
No, we're not talking about the details of the development, but at least to have an approach that this is what our overview or our overall plan is going to be involved.
And I know they've been talking, of course, that because the firms that are involved are prominent and certainly top-notch firms, that they're talking with Deep about the remedial action requirements for doing this. So a remedial action plan requires review. And every plan that we've been involved with, there's some issue that comes up that I think the commission would want to be involved with. And also the water dependent component of this, as well as the environmental education and interpretation, all those sorts of things that, can be stated in a vision in a general way. And the details would then be brought up in the site-specific plan.
Right.
Yeah,
Well-
they have quite a bit of visioning activity going on already that's been published. So I think it's time to get involved with that. They're also starting to have, I know Manresa Association group is helping with some visioning plans already, or have been right along. So we should get ourselves involved with that.
Well, I think the other that's all good, but there's also the city end, which we are a city appendage, if not an agency. And the Manresa was never touched in the rezoning, and it was never touched in the industrial in the waterfront studies. So, I guess my question to our own overseeing department, planning and zoning, is: do they plan on rezoning Manresa to accommodate this? It's all B residential. I don't think B residential accommodates what they have planned, nor should it, for that matter. I think it's a great vision that they have, but the thing I would advocate for is part of it being zoned marine commercial. That's sort of how that's the zoning code's mechanism for protecting waterfront, the marine, marina water dependent use.
So that's one basic reason why you want to get something else in the plan.
Something on paper.
Put something on paper and put it in the plan.
Yeah, I mean, the plan's great. I think there's also working with planning and zoning and finding out what they intend on doing. If we want to be proactive on this and not, I think we go straight to where it's happening. So Amelia, do you have any input? Have you heard anything about what planning and zoning is going to take any action on the Manresa property?
I
Since it
have
was-
not heard anything, but based on the plans that I've seen in the news, because our office, we haven't received anything official.
Sure.
I'm assuming, and I'm sure they will need approval from the Planning and Zoning Commission, in which case the application would be referred to you. But yeah, I wonder if the zone were to change, I assume the applicant would need to apply for a text change. I don't think the Planning and Zoning Commission would change it on their own. I think everything would come as a proposal from the applicant, and then Planning and Zoning, and you guys would make your decisions based on what the applicant's submitting. So I don't think Planning and Zoning is planning on doing anything until we get an official proposal from the applicant.
Right. So it'll all be applicant driven. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Alan, can I just make 2 points real quick? I apologize if not. I'm driving home from some meetings tonight, but what Jeff has done here over the last, 2 months to 10 years is just cataclysmic towards what our goal and our vision is. And I think that needs to be applauded. And, how he's been able to get into these projects, get through these projects, and get them moving in a substantiated method. It's been great. So, I mean, he really needs to be applauded for what he's done over the last couple of years, because it's above and beyond, I think.
No, thank you for that remark too. I certainly second that.
We're all just trying to serve the public interest, and we all care about, thanks, Matt.
No, we all have, real intention and real, effort towards this, but your ability to kind of cut the bone from the fat and get to the point, I think, is something that some of us love to hear and would love to get more involved with. And it's just so much appreciated. I just want to let you know how much all of us really appreciate that. And when you really look at the numbers, it's beyond staggering from, a 10+ year, background. And then when you go more specifically towards the Manresa project, I'd be happy to, jump in from a commission standpoint. I've reached out to those folks. I haven't gotten any feedback yet, but if there's anyone specifically that maybe Amelia has that we can contact, I'd be happy to jump in and, kind of be the point person on that.
Maybe we could just draft up a 2 or 3 page statement of basic goals for the reuse of the plant. And actually, going back to Tony Mobilia, Tony and I first suggested that at one of the early public meetings at the Manresa Association. That's an excellent report they did, but again, it's not a city document. And if we provide a framework for the commission's review, I think we could all work towards really seeing something, really spectacular here, if it can be done. But anyway, that's thank you for letting me go on so long. But
one suggestion I have for all of you is to take a tour of Manresa and educate yourselves about their plans, and you'll learn a lot. It's a great tour.
We have to review those.
Open to the public. You just go on their website. It's open to the public.
Oh, no kidding. Okay, didn't know that. Is Alan still on the meeting?
I think he might have dropped.
I think he dropped.
That makes you
Okay.
the chair, Jeff.
Yep, there you go. Yay, this is what I always wanted. All right, next is Shellfish Commission. Steve?
Thanks for standing in, Jeff. I appreciate it, Mr. Vice Chair.
While I'm sitting, okay.
Thanks. So I just wanted to send a quick thanks out to the Marine Unit and other first responders for their response to the alleged criminal discharge in the Sound, and for the communications from the MU regarding same. Much appreciated. And I guess I'll second or third the motion with respect to naming the new boating center after Tony Mobilia. Tony's work was an example of true bipartisanship. And I think we as a state, a city, country could learn a lot from the work that was done alongside Tony for the many years that he was involved. Shellfish Commission had no meeting in October. We had no old or new business to conduct. As of this presentation, we don't have any for our November meeting either, but we will hold the meeting just for the committee reports. I don't want that to have a gap of more than a month to be presented. That's really all I have. Eat Norwalk shellfish. They are at their best right now. October is the month you want to have them if you're going to have them. So go down to the shore and buy some to take home for this coming weekend. And that's all I have, Jeff. Thank you. I yield back.
Great. Thank you, Steve. I appreciate it. I see that Alan is back. Alan, are you with us fully? You hear us? Give a thumbs up. That's a negative. All right. So we're going to move on. Let's see who's next. Committee reports. Oh, fantastic. It's myself. So I'm going to call upon myself. So I just want to give you a rundown on DOCWA and the moorings and harbor master vessel and harbor safety, all of that. So DOCWA visitors are still coming in. There are approximately 45 vessels that stayed an average of 2 nights. And there were some repeat visitors that came early in the season, and then they're swinging back on their voyage to wherever they're going. So they this proves that Norwalk is a great destination for people. The reviews and comments from these visitors are nothing but fantastic. You know, that they enjoyed Norwalk. There's about $4,200, $4,300 in revenue so far this year. We did have a vessel that was to stay at the mooring. I credited their fee because they didn't stay at the mooring, but the person lost the engine and wouldn't start. So I contacted Harbor Master, Deputy Harbor Master Lee, saying that there was a fish floating out there, and he went out and grabbed them, brought him over to the visitor dock where he stayed to get his engine fixed. So, you know, I just want to say thanks to the Marine unit, all the officers of the Marine unit, as well as the fire unit and recreation and parks. You know, this just shows that if we all work together, you know, we don't have any problems, and any problems that do show up, we can easily handle. So thanks for doing that. Moorings. So the new mooring balls were delivered yesterday, actually. And they're not balls, they're the can type of moorings. So 8 mooring, I'm still going to call them mooring balls, but floats, if you will. They were delivered. We're not going to put them in this year. We'll do that after the mooring tackle is inspected, which needs to be done prior to next season. Edwards Marine is going to do that, and we'll replace anything that needs to be replaced. Harbor Master vessel is back in operation, as the Harbor Master stated. So I am going to contact All Seasons so that we have a maintenance schedule, so that we can actually keep on top of that vessel. I haven't heard of anything wrong with the vessel, and it was money well spent, actually. Harbor safety. So the Harbor Master did state that a barge did break free up at Divine, and thanks to a number of people, and especially Harbor Master Lavallo, who assisted in getting that tug company to go ahead and push that vessel back up against the bulkhead, making it all safe. Harbor Master Lavallo also contacted the Norwalk Boat Club up there and let them know what was going on, and had a contingency plan in case any of their boaters needed to go up there, because it was blocked. They would have been tied up at the visitors dock. So none of that was needed. So that's a good thing. As mentioned, there was a vessel that disposed of waste and diesel in Long Island Sound, which is unheard of. I don't know why somebody would do that. They were arrested. and their next court date is December 9th if you want to go to Stanford to do anything. There was a comment, and I want to read this verbatim on one of the articles, and it was from the Norwalk Police Marine Unit commented, and a very good comment, I think. We all need to take this, to heart. So the Norwalk Police would like to remind boaters of the environmental ramifications when incidents like this occurs. Please be mindful of sea life and the harm of human exposure to these pollutants. We encourage all boaters not to only be responsible when operating the vessel, but also be responsible for keeping pollutants from entering the waterways. And that was very well said. And it's just a reminder that we're all responsible. I know that when I go out, I pick up anything that's floating, bags and things like that. And when I'm out on the island, I have a bag, and I pick up trash while I'm there. So other than that, that's about it. Does anybody have any questions? Hearing none. Alan, I yield back to you, or maybe to me. Can you unmute?
Hey, Jeff, I'm sorry. I had one question for you. I'm not sure if it applies more towards Bruce, but with the new vessel that's being purchased, is there some background that we can understand on that one too?
Yeah, so we needed a new vessel. Unless Bruce, you want to handle that, or Owen? But we needed a new vessel. It was
time.
Yeah, the engine that we did get, it was a used engine. And there is no guarantee. I think a 30-day warranty on the engine. So when Jessica was with the city, discussion started to be had about a replacement vessel, and Owen did a fantastic job. Deputy Harbor Master Lee did a fantastic job of researching vessels and to understand what the needs were, not only for the harbor master, but the shellfish, the marine unit, even the fire unit if they wanted to use it. So a decision was made to purchase a 26-foot Munson. Those funds were reallocated in the city to be able to purchase that. So Jessica did some work with finding the funds in the city. So that is the plan. The boat is 18 months out, so we won't see it for a year and a half.
Oh, okay.
I think that's what it is.
Yeah, I was wondering. Okay, so we're keeping the other one in service until
Yes.
for another 18 months. All right.
Yes.
We're going to treat that with kid gloves. So
Jeff,
No,
I
now it makes sense. I was
better.
gonna ask why we're getting a service contract for a boat we're gonna decommission, but it's slightly
no service contract. We're well, maintenance on the. So we want to know
Maintenance
what the
contract.
maintenance is. Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
But we got to keep it working for 18 months. That's
Absolutely.
Yep.
Deputy Harbor Master Lee.
Oh, Jeff, I couldn't have said it any better. That was it.
Wow. So when I'm breaking,
You're on a roll. You're on a roll, Commissioner.
Yeah, when
You're
I'm
on a roll.
yeah, there you go. When I'm breaking the no wake, you'll just let me go. But okay, I don't do that, by the way. No, never do that.
You can make a wake with that boat?
My boat.
I've been trying to break
can make a
6
wake
knots
with
with
it.
my
Wow.
sailboat, but I can't.
Okay.
Thank you, Jeff.
That's it. Go ahead.
Thank you,
Thanks,
sir.
Alan.
Any more questions for Jeff? All right, moving right along. Finance, Mr. McDonald.
Yes, I don't have anything to report. We've had other than a few DACWA deposits. There's been little or no activity. I did a pretty extensive breakdown 2 meetings ago. So and it sounds like we're expending some of those funds. We did requisition a lot of funds from the city. So it's great. We're great that the new mooring tackle's going in. I'll see the bill for that, and that's not a problem. But other than that, I'll have a better breakdown come next meeting's November. Certainly by this, end of the year, we'll do a recap of where we stand. But nothing else to report.
Thank you, Chris. Any questions for Chris? Thank you. Lori Jones, plans and recommendations.
So the Harbor Management Plan Review Group is meeting the first week in November to talk about proposed revisions, obviously outside the whole issue of authority of the commission, basically policy updates and really trying to consolidate so that there's not so much redundancy and it becomes easier to read and more user friendly. So that's it.
Thank you very much. Any questions for Lori? Moving right along, Mr. Commissioner White, newsletter, etc.
Hey, so obviously we heard back from the town that they would not like us to build our own website, but they said we could update things on their website. So we'll see. We can move forward with that as we can. I think what we should propose is essentially, and we can get this together and we'll do it internally. First make sure it's approved and we're all cool with it. But I think we should propose things such as links to the DOCWA, tide charts. I think we could do basically like a harbor guide where we just have Rex, Cove, all the restaurants that are close by, West Marine, hardware stores, everything that you would expect to come and kind of see as a visiting mariner to this place. And then basically pitch and provide them with all of the kind of standing information that we want to have on the site, how they can update it. I'm happy to work with the town. I'm sure they have a person on staff that does web design and things of that nature. But basically we can try to push it as far as we can in terms of getting more resources and usable content up on that portion of the site. And then basically what I was thinking is we could have not so much like a summation of the minutes, but we could essentially update it after these meetings with things that are pertinent and topics that are relevant to the call. If it's, we're going to have a hearing on this, or this is something that is coming up, we can update it with that information on a monthly basis, and then also provide any sort of, again, like links to where to vote if there's a petition against DEEP, or if there's something going on, anything that we want to make sure that the public has access to. And then we can promote that out again, promote the page itself through obviously our social channels, but I think we can still, and again, we'd have to work with the town, with the city on this to see what we can do. But essentially, I think we can still do a lot of what we wanted to do. It'll just be a little bit of a slower process to get it off the ground, because we're going to have to work with the back end UX experience that they have on their end and kind of obviously see what we can get through. But I think it's better than nothing, and I think we could still. I still think we should, some sort of a QR code or something we can have that would be on pilings at the end of the streets where they dead to the water, things of that nature, at marinas that could have. You can scan here to learn more about, welcome to Norwalk, learn more about the harbor, and ways that we could still kind of encourage people to go and visit the site. I think we would just have to obviously see what kind of a UX we could get from the city's end. I'm not sure what their back end server is, if they're using WordPress or Squarespace.
I don't know what I have.
My assumption would be that it's fairly slow. We're gonna have to.
No, I think.
But I think we should go and see, dial it up as much as we can. If they get traffic there, link out to the DOCWA stuff. We can just provide more access to more information in as many places as we can, and hopefully get the flywheel kind of spinning that'll allow us to hopefully get some more leeway in terms of how we can make it a user-friendly experience.
Yeah, there's a couple other people in the city we should talk to too. Now that Jess has kind of moved on, but they are kind of doing public relations. I think it could be interested in doing more of our work or putting more of our content into their things as well.
Yeah, I think it's especially for you know, and maybe this is something we can work on with like the communications department from the city, but you know, during the summertime, can we get some more of this harbor focused content front and center on, you know, norwalk.gov or whatever it is, you know, where they have rotating things that are going in and out, you know, during high season, can we see if we can steal some of that better front page real estate, just for things like this, you know, to encourage and provide information and encourage people to come and just give them the resources that they need when they're visiting
Yeah, I think that's excellent
harbor.
because
Chris, what I receive, the phone calls that I receive during the peak season, the most are, where can I get fuel?
Exactly. You know, and I think it's one of those things where, you know, it's especially a lot of this side of Long Island Sound, like there aren't really many visiting harbors. There are a lot of destination harbors, like I'm going back to Darien, I'm going back here, but there aren't like, there's not a lot of transient harbors, and this happens to be one of them. So to have that kind of information, how close is the Stop and Shop? You know, like, what is there a West Marine in town? Is there a ship store? Is there a chandlery? Oh, there's a Lowe's 5 minutes away. Great, like, you know, that kind of stuff. As anyone of us who's been on this call, you know, you show up in a place you haven't been after cruising for 8 hours, and you've got a laundry list of questions. You just to have that be more readily accessible, I think, to visiting yachtsmen would benefit the experience.
yeah, it's also a lot of the mapping, like, you know, chart mapping, which is 2 or 3 chart applications for we have people have in their bridge like I do. You could populate those, and I don't think you should charge for putting restaurants and all those kind of things onto their map of Norwalk Harbor when you zoom into it. You know, on there are layers you can turn it on and turn it off, and some of them I'm sure if we provided the information and the locations, that would be could be
burning?
incorporated in the right of the charts. You know.
Yeah, and I think the other way that we can kind of
What's the accident?
back end our way into this
Oh.
is we can update our DOCWA listing page with whatever we want.
Yes.
Right?
Yep, we can.
So I think that, you know, I think we can do what we can in terms of getting this information up, you know, and usable information onto the site. But in terms of these, you know, where to go, here are all the restaurants that line the harbor on both
Right.
sides. Here's where you want to go tie up. Here's where the dinghy dock is. Here's who to call for, like that kind of stuff. I think we can also start kind of flooding into our DOCWA page for the mooring reservations, and almost make that as a cruising resource as well, for, you know, for transient boaters.
Sure. Excellent. We got a lot to think about this winter, don't we? Thank you, Chris. Any questions for Chris? We don't have any water quality person at this point. Any new business?
I have a couple things. It's one is a question for Jeff Stedman. So, and it relates to the updating of the harbor management plan. So we are going to update all the mapping graphics. I've contacted the GIS coordinator for the city, although I've let that sit for a little bit. But one of the things we need is what I want to get in the GIS, and I think hopefully the city will elect to put it on the public facing part of the GIS, is all the federal channels and anchorages. And to do that, I need coordinates. I found within the plan, in one of the documents in the plan, one of the drawings in the plan, they had the northings and eastings for all the points of the East Basin, or Southern and East Basin, the East Norwalk Basin, which is the North Anchorage. Because that, as we know, was extensively, you know, negotiated and researched to establish all that. But all the rest of it, you know, every time the channel realigns, it would be, if we have that information, it would be great. Otherwise, we're just scaling it off, and then it's not that accurate. So do you know if we have that, Jeff? All the actual survey information about where exactly the federal channel lies?
We have
That
It's on the.
It should all be on the Corps' website.
Yeah.
You know, all their survey data is you know, they.
Right.
Yeah,
I was hoping. Well, yeah.
it's all on that eHydro website.
Yeah, that's great. I went into that, and there's some great information. It doesn't. I don't know if it has if I can pull the locations, maybe.
Amelia,
Yep.
would the city be able to provide a shared drive?
I mean, I know within the city internally, we have shared drives, and I should be able to share like a Dropbox link with everyone.
So I think, because this is information that we all need, not just the Norwalk Marine Police, the Harbor Master, and everyone else. If we can provide a share drive for us to upload all of that information to the share drive, it'd be accessible to all of the folks on this meeting here.
Okay.
Great. I will definitely look into that, but that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, that's an excellent idea.
There's a long list of documents that we should all have available on a shared drive in the middle of the 21st century. And then my other question is, do we have any information about the Indigo contract and which is a strategic harbor management plan? That was out to bid 11 months ago. As far as I know, they selected Indigo 10 months ago. And is that all on hold because Jessica Vanashek left, or because I thought we were going to kick this off in like February or March.
That was definitely
that's
my
where all our money
expectation
sits
too.
for the my fear is that this $34,000 we requisitioned is going to disappear because it's 2 years old now. Sorry,
Yeah, I think Jeff Stedman did have the Port Authority amend the grant, so there is no expiration date on the funds, which is a good thing.
That's
The
right.
contract is currently with our corporation counsel, and Indigo has reached out to us too, because of course they want the contract signed and they want to get working. So that is with corporation counsel. We did have some when Jess was still working for the city, had some thoughts about potentially expanding the scope of work. So that was something she was looking into. But after she left, Steve Kleppen and I are kind of now, I guess, the point people for that. So we had met with Indigo River just to see where they were with Jess and going forward with essentially just the same scope of work that the steering committee had seen and agreed to. So that's back with the law department, and we want them to send that over to Indigo River as soon as possible so they can have that signed contract and we can actually get things moving. Finally.
So
You let me know the progress of that.
Well,
Yes, I will absolutely let you all know. I'll let the steering committee know as soon as that contract is signed, hopefully soon.
I mean, my feeling, Amelia, in all this is that the Harbor Commission and the Shellfish Commission should be the lead point on this. I mean,
Definitely.
we've had greatest experience as far as the grant writings, as far as view of the harbor, an overview of the harbor, presentation of the harbor management plan. So we've got everything in place, and that's why I was going to ask again, Lori, I don't know, I know that Jeff is here right now, but is Jeff a member of that committee?
We're well represented on the steering committee.
Yeah.
Well, you have not the steering committee. I'm talking about the
Yes, Jeff is involved. Jeff and I are
review.
emailing about the harbor management plan. John, we have to keep the committee to only 4 people, or else it has to become a full-blown city committee.
Understand that.
So it's very intentional.
so
So
your
we're
next
using
meeting with
Jeff
Harbor
as a
Management-
consultant, the same way we're using Bruce Lavallo as a consultant, and everybody's going to be involved in this. Nothing is going to change until we just needed a core group of people who could review it and make suggestions. They're not recommendations. We're not making any motions. We're not taking any votes.
No, but
nothing is
placement of the plan.
Yes, I have a lot of Jeff and I have been in touch. Yes.
Yeah, Laurie, we're also talking about the strategic plan, not the.
John was asking me about the harbor management plan. Yeah, as you know, Chris.
Also, as far as the meal is concerned, as far as the strategic plan, I think is the commission well represented on that?
I think at least 3 of us, all right?
Yeah, 3 or 4 of us.
4 of us, yeah.
Yeah, and then Park Recreation and Parks is on there. And I believe.
Yeah, Jessica was, I was pushing because Jessica Vanashek was the project manager for it, And now that she's gone, it's good to know that the planning and zoning is gonna be the lead agency on it and take that up. And then it's gonna move forward, that it isn't stalled because she left. All right, well, thanks. That you answered my question. Thank you, Emilian.
Thank you, guys. Any other new business? All right, thank you all for turning out tonight and all the contributions you make. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I'm making the motion to adjourn.
Is there a
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Right.
Meeting is adjourned. Thank you all.
Thank you all.
Everybody.